Welcome back, guys, to another SCPH replay right here, right now. It's gonna be a PvT matchup, and it's gonna be on Nightshade LE, so make sure to just rub your glasses, rid of all the fog, make sure flashlights are good to go as we explore into the darkness that is Nightshade Forest. First things first, introducing the players. Here on the bottom right, we have the red Terran that is GLAY and his opponents. On the top left, we are gonna have the blue Protoss that is DemonDaSh. So already we see DemonDaSh playing in behind. He is gonna be looking to build closer to his mineral line. This just basically forces the Reaper to have a tough time to get into your middle line to bother you in the first place, and it allows you to actually trap the Reaper with your Zealot. At the same time, with one side of your middle line basically quote-unquote sealed off, it does force either a rotation or just a cascade for your opponent wherever you allow the opening to happen. You can also double wall it out, basically. Make sure that you play close, play to your hearts. And DemonDaSh looking to protect himself from any kind of antics at the start of the game. In the meantime though, GLAY will be playing at standard wall here in Barrack Supply Depot. And this probe gonna casually be able to get on the inside. Now, one thing I've seen cheeky Terrans do is they wait for the worker to go on the inside if they really are just focusing on macro in the first place, and then they seal it off with a supply depot. So yeah, it's like the probe can't get out. It's a free worker kill. It's a very small thing, but at least it's funny to see. Anyway though, SCV versus probe, the SCV does have the advantage. 45 HP, 240 basically, and DemonDaSh has to run away to make sure that shields will come back online, but already it's in a bad spot. The Reaper gonna be produced as well. And DemonDaSh does get some good scouting information there, knows that it is going to be a barracks unit coming, expecting the Reaper by this point, and he still will build on this wall onto the right hand side. So Cybercore going to be coming online, the Nexus down below as well onto that natural with a pylon to boot. And it's all about getting that warp gate research as well as the Stalker. So basically, if you go for the Zealot first, the Reaper will have an easy time to kite it around, especially without charge. But if you have the Stalker, range versus range allows you to actually fight. And shields versus the Reaper regen, basically no one will die if microed correctly. Anyway though, yeah, we do have our second base courtesy of DemonDaSh. It's the 1 gate expansion here for our Protoss player. Very standard for any kind of Protoss player to begin with. And eventually that scouting probe will go down. In the meantime, here we go, have the 1-1, looking for that third one. The reactor tech is online, and into tech lab we go. So this might actually be a bio focus here and now from our boy GLAY. We can also decide to go for a bunker by this point, double pump those marines, and then transfer them accordingly, tech lab onto a starport in the future. But we'll see how GLAY is going to play this out. He already is on 2 gas, interesting enough, so we're going to expect something big from him. It's the Cyclone. Okay, so it's going to be the Cyclone opening here for GLAY. With that 2 gas, it is essential to have enough to maybe build another one. If it can apply pressure, Marines, of course, very defensive. There you go. That's going to be the bunker in front. And overall, the strategy here is the Cyclone goes for the hit and run, gets a lock on, gets a kill, rinse, repeats, and just force your opponent to stay on the number of bases they have in the first place. Well, what is this here from DemonDaSh? Proxy Stargate, gonna be on a high ground. An interesting place to actually put it. It's not the closest, but at least it is basically protected from many kinds of vision. This doesn't look like a path that our Terran player will actually travel, but DemonDaSh decided to send in those 2 Stalkers. Here comes the Cyclone! And speed kills. Can the lock-on happen? GLAY giving chase. The Stalker trying to run away. Will it actually make it out? DemonDaSh now gonna suffer from the potential lock-on. To the high ground we go. Duel between the Cyclone and the Stalker. Who will take the W? There you go. The Maglocks just gonna be soaring with that one. It's going to be overheating as soon as the Stalker goes down. Anyway though, interesting enough, this is DemonDaSh deciding to, of all things, get a +1 onto air. So first things first, when you get +1 onto air, it means you're going to be focusing onto it. But what is a unit? What is a unit that actually works really well with +1 from the get-go? You can say maybe Oracle for Pulsar? Not really. You can say Void Ray? Not really. It seems like with this fleet beacon, I think I have an idea what DemonDaSh is doing. The Fleet Beacon allows two things. One's the Tempest, and the other is the Carrier. So DemonDaSh with a very experimental build, to say the least. You can honestly say he can be throwing by this point, but he does have a very stable backline set on up 2 gateways to provide the wall. He is going to go for a 4-gate with 2 next size, and that's not bad. You can build some more, but I guess Stargate as well as the Fleet Beacon costing a little too much in the bank. And the Chrono boosting out that Carrier along the way. So the thing about the Carrier, it still is effective in certain situations, especially in the late game, but you want to have them in mass. By this point in time, it really just has to depend on GLAY not being prepared for this. But the front line is looking scary. Missile turrets, bunker, marines are set on up. And at the same time, there is still a Cyclone around the map somewhere. Looking around, trying to get the hits with a mine though. Gonna get dropped down behind the medevac. And it seems like that's gonna be a lock on to 1. Sacrificial probe by this point. This has to be. DemonDaSh going in for the kill. He lost 6 probes already all throughout. But here comes the thunder, and here comes potentially the Carrier coming our way. Was it spotted? That's gonna be the real question. Might have been a little bit of a slip in the micro, because it moved on out before having any real orders. Still though, 2 Carriers looking even more scary. What is Billy actually doing? Does he know it's coming? Oh, it might actually get spotted. The medevac gonna fly over. Wrong place, right time. And the Carrier gonna get spotted here. And now DemonDaSh has to act quickly. Has to go for the assault by this point. But Star is already set up here by GLAY. He's panicking. He has to build as much anti-air as possible. Has to make sure that this is gonna work out for him. The Cyclone is set up on the higher ground, but the Carrier has arrived and make that a twofer, because DemonDaSh coming closer and closer to this main base. The Cyclone, not paying attention, must be drinking some beer or something. And here we go with the lock-on, but the Interceptors have found their target, and the Cyclone is dead on the spot. SCP immediately torn apart, and the +1 really peaked. So key for these Interceptors to have extra DPS. Missile turret cannot decide what the target is gonna go for, and DemonDaSh bringing all of this jazz, all of these Interceptors into the field, into the fray. Lock on though, locks on onto the Carrier. Can they actually get a takedown? Tanky enough to survive. And DemonDaSh with the surprise of the century. But here comes another one. 3rd Carrier looking to fly in the skies. DemonDaSh unrelenting, unfathomable with these high flyers. And now it's time for the Interceptors to have a field day. But the Marines, of course, can point on up. Adepts gonna be used for supports. Very, very effective as well to pick off lone Marines here, there, and everywhere. And by this point in time, gonna be safety in numbers and safety in the high ground here for DemonDaSh. Takes a while though for the Adept to come on back, as there is no gateway nearby. But GLAY gonna be walking into this one. Carrier's gonna be in position. Stalker's gonna be looking to provide reinforcements as well. Cyclones cannot back on out. The lock-on is not there. And overall, this is gonna be GLAY losing everything he sent out. DemonDaSh deciding to mop up yet again. And can GLAY still come back into this? He withdrew the Marines from the bunker. All he has left is truly these siege tanks and a pair of Cyclones, and deciding to go for a potential hit into the natural R onto the main. But by this point in time, the siege tanks are the only things providing damage. The siege stalkers still going down already. Seems like it's gonna be scrap metal down below. Adepts is not even bothered with the micro, and the Carriers just flying up in the air. The Golden Armada finally shining on the night sky here on Nightshade. And it has to be it by this point. Desperation time for GLAY. More and more of these missile turrets. At the same time, he has a fusion core set on up, looking for Yamato, but there is no way to increase the speed of production. The Stargate as well as the fusion core both need to stay alive by this point to get any real value. DemonDaSh just enjoying his time, toying with his opponent. Carriers have truly arrived in this instance. And Mule's now going to be tossed into that main base yet again. Overall though, more and more units here from DemonDaSh. Gonna get closer and closer. And GLAY just gonna call it quits. DemonDaSh with the surprise of the century. And we'll call that a session here, ladies and gentlemen. Very fun games in a multitude of plateaus. And we end with the Carrier to show off at its all.